These 6 reasons explain why women show their Cameltoe effect to men, and none of them are by chance. If you believe it's just tight clothing, you're falling into a deliberately set trap. Let me show you what is really being tested here, and why nearly every man fails. By the end of this video, you will understand this dynamic and take back every ounce of power over yourself. Reason 1. Testing male reactions. Imagine yourself as a scientist with a highly sensitive measuring device. This is exactly what some women are doing. They intentionally dress in a way that invites men to react. They are conducting systematic experiments to test the men around them. They want to know who is controlled, who becomes weak, who remains respectful, and who crosses boundaries. Tight-fitting clothing becomes the perfect litmus test for this. I remember one day at the gym, a woman strategically positioned herself on a mat in a spot where all the men had to walk by. She wore incredibly tight leggings and did exercises that maximized the visibility of her figure. Then she carefully observed their reactions. The bodybuilder on testosterone stared, hypnotized, almost forgetting his workout. Weak self-control. The young guy by the dumbbells turned red, nervously looking away, insecure and easily shaken. The older man, probably past his prime, glanced briefly, frowned, and probably thought, "What's wrong with these modern women? Back in the day, you didn't show this." The insidious thing about this test is that most men don't realize they're being tested. They think they are being discreet, but every one of their reactions betrays their true character. But this first reason is still harmless compared to what comes next, because now we step into a minefield of modern society. Reason 2. Modern feminism. Provocation as a freedom statement. For many women, this kind of clothing is not just fashion, it's a political statement. It says, "My body belongs to me, and I dress how I want." No matter what men or society think, this is an act of rebellion against centuries of rules that told women to cover up, be modest, and make themselves invisible. These women are fed up with hiding their sexuality to spare men's feelings. Imagine being locked in a cage for centuries and suddenly the door opens. Would you sneak out cautiously, or would you stride out proudly, showing everyone you're free? I once went on a date with a woman. She told me, "You know, I used to always wonder if my skirt was too short, if my neckline was too deep. Then I thought, why the hell should I hide? I'm an adult woman, and if men can't handle my body, that's their problem, not mine." These women use their bodies as a weapon in the fight for social equality. Every shocked look, every outraged comment affirms to them that they are successfully challenging the system. But here's the catch. They often confuse attention with respect. They believe that male gazes are equivalent to female power. In doing so, they overlook the fact that true power isn't about provoking reactions but being respected. But the third reason is far darker. It takes us into the depths of the human psyche, into the world of emotional vampires. Reason 3. Attention and validation. Imagine being addicted to a drug that only other people can give you. Attention. Every glance is a little dose, every reaction a brief high. For these women, you are not Thomas, the family man, or Michael, the entrepreneur. You are a walking validation machine. Your attention is the currency with which they buy their damaged self-esteem. The tragedy of this addiction is that it can never be satisfied. No matter how many glances they gather, no matter how many men stare at them, it is never enough, because the void inside them can't be filled by external validation. I once knew a woman who confessed to me, "When I leave the house in the morning and no man looks at me, I feel like I'm invisible, like I don't exist." These women have learned to use their bodies as tools to get the attention they so desperately need. But they don't realize that they are trapped in a vicious circle. The more they expose their bodies, the less they are seen as people. They become objects in their own game, and the worst part is they don't even realize it. And if you think this is only about men, The sixth reason turns everything upside down. The next point reveals how this game becomes technically possible. Reason 4. Modern leggings automatically shape everything. Now we are talking about a phenomenon that many women use as an excuse, but it's actually a technical reality. The modern textile industry has developed fabrics that function like a second skin. These materials are so elastic and shaping that they automatically highlight and contour every area of the body. Imagine putting on a suit that automatically makes your muscles look more defined, your shoulders broader, and your waist slimmer. Would you wear it? Of course you would. That's exactly what happens with modern leggings. They work like a push-up bra for the entire lower body. They lift, shape, tighten, and emphasize, often without the woman even thinking about it. But here's the crucial point. Ignorance does not protect you from consequences. Even if a woman doesn't consciously want to provoke, her body still sends signals. And these signals are automatically interpreted by male brains. I observed this once at work. She was a very conservative, religious woman who would never consciously provoke anyone. But her sports leggings shaped her body in such a way that even the most reserved men in the office had trouble not looking. When a colleague pointed it out to her, she was shocked. She had no idea of the effect her clothing had. But ignorance changes nothing in the reality of male perception. What comes next is not just a detail, but a system that even smart men overlook. If you realize there's more to this, leave a like and subscribe. The next point shows how responsibility is systematically avoided. Reason 5. Looking sexy without taking responsibility. These women have developed the perfect system. They can send maximum sexual signals, but shirk all responsibility for them. It's like committing a crime without leaving fingerprints. Imagine you could throw a bait into the water to attract fish, but when someone asks, you could say, "I'm not fishing, I'm just feeding the fish." Exactly what these women do. They dress in such a way that every man within a 50-meter radius automatically looks. But when you call them out on it, the standard response is, "It's just comfortable workout clothes. If you think something's wrong, that's your problem." It's a brilliant system of manipulation. They get all the benefits of sexual attention, but none of the social consequences. I remember a conversation with a woman who regularly came to the office in extremely tight leggings. When the boss complained that it was unprofessional, she responded indignantly, "These are workout clothes. I'm going to the gym after work." But here's the truth. She knew exactly what she was doing. She enjoyed the attention, the power, the control over the male reactions, but she didn't want to take responsibility for it. These women play a double game. They use their sexuality as a weapon, but hide behind the mask of innocence. What I've shared with you so far is nothing compared to what comes next. The sixth reason is so ruthless that most women would never admit it. Reason 6. Competition with other women. Imagine the female collective as a shark tank. In this tank, there is a constant, merciless battle for the position of the alpha female. When a woman dresses in such a way that every curve and body part is visible, she is not performing a seductive dance for you. She is declaring war on other women. You are just a tool in this fight, a living proof of her superiority. I once observed this in a body pump class at the gym. A new participant appeared in tight leggings that emphasized certain body areas. The reaction of the other women was immediately palpable. Cold stares, whispered comments, an atmosphere of hostility. Every male glance she attracts is a point in this invisible competition. Every reaction is proof of her superiority over her competitors. The insidious part of this system is that the men are not the target. They are just the measuring stick. Now you know the reasons. Women don't dress for you. They dress for power, control, and competition. But that's just a symptom. What's really behind all this? Let me show you these 7 brutal truths about women. The dynamic at play is one of hidden power struggles, manipulation, and a constant search for validation. Women are not merely dressing for attention. They are often using their bodies as part of a larger, strategic game. This game, however, is one that many men may never fully understand. What appears to be a casual glance, a passing thought, or a moment of weakness is actually a test. The test is designed to expose character, to show who is in control and who is not. This is why men often fall into the trap. The truth is, these dynamics are not just about clothing. They are about a deeper psychological battle for control, power, and status. Reason 7. Control through insecurity. One of the most unsettling truths about this entire dynamic is that insecurity plays a crucial role in this power game. It is not just about who is strong or who can resist the urge to look. It's about who can maintain composure under pressure and who will break down and give in to their instincts. A woman's ability to manipulate this vulnerability in others is a direct reflection of her own self-doubt. The more insecure she feels, the more she seeks out validation, and the more she uses her appearance to ensure that she is noticed, that she is seen, and that she holds some semblance of control over the situation. The key to understanding this dynamic is recognizing that it is not just about outward appearances. The women who engage in this behavior are often deeply aware of their vulnerability, even if they don't acknowledge it. It's not about enjoying the power, it's about feeding their need for validation. Every glance, every reaction is like a drug, something that temporarily fills the void of insecurity, but never permanently heals it. These women may seem confident on the surface, but underneath, they are often just as vulnerable as the men they manipulate. Their confidence is often a facade, one built to hide their deep-seated fears and insecurities. The consequences of this game are profound, not just for the women who play it, but for the men who get caught in the web. Men, too, are vulnerable in this dynamic. They are often trapped in a cycle of reacting without fully understanding the stakes. They may believe that their responses are benign, that they are just admiring a beautiful woman or enjoying a moment of attraction. But in reality, they are revealing something far deeper about themselves. These reactions expose their weaknesses, their lack of control, and their susceptibility to manipulation. But even more troubling is the long-term impact this dynamic can have on both men and women. The constant validation-seeking behavior creates an environment where genuine connections are rare. Instead of meaningful relationships built on mutual respect and understanding, there is a constant push for surface-level interactions. People become objects, tools to be used for validation and self-worth. Real intimacy becomes elusive, as people begin to see each other not as individuals, but as tools to be used in a game of power and control. This cycle can become particularly damaging when it is carried out in the workplace or in social environments. A woman who uses her body to garner attention may find that her professional reputation suffers. She may get attention, but it may not be the right kind of attention. She may be objectified, seen only for her physical attributes rather than her skills, talents, or intelligence. Similarly, men who fall into the trap of responding to this attention may find themselves in a position of weakness. They may become emotionally involved in a game they do not fully understand, and in doing so, they lose their power, their dignity, and their sense of self-control. The irony of this dynamic is that in trying to exert control over others, both women and men ultimately lose control of themselves. Women, in their quest for validation, become more dependent on external sources of self-worth. They begin to see their bodies not as part of their personal identity, but as tools to be used to gain attention and power. Men, in their response to this dynamic, begin to see women as objects, not as individuals with complex emotions and personalities. They lose sight of what is truly important in relationships: mutual respect, understanding, and emotional connection. As these dynamics continue to play out in society, it becomes clear that the real solution lies in breaking the cycle. True power does not come from provoking reactions or seeking attention. It comes from being at peace with oneself, from knowing one's worth without needing external validation. Women must learn to value themselves beyond their appearance, and men must learn to see women as whole individuals, not just as objects of desire. Only when both sexes stop playing the game of manipulation and control can they begin to form genuine, healthy relationships. This shift in perspective is not easy. It requires a deep level of self-awareness, emotional maturity, and a willingness to break free from societal expectations and pressures. But it is a shift that is necessary if we are to build a healthier, more respectful society. We must recognize that the real power lies not in manipulating others for validation, but in embracing who we are and in creating relationships built on trust, respect, and equality. The complexity of the dynamics at play is revealed in how deeply ingrained these patterns have become in society. For women, the drive for validation isn't just a casual indulgence. It's often deeply embedded in their sense of self-worth, shaped by years of societal conditioning. Women are taught from a young age that their value is often tied to their appearance, to how they are perceived by others, particularly men. In this environment, the desire to gain attention becomes more than just a superficial craving. It becomes a survival mechanism, a way of ensuring that they are seen, heard, and validated in a world that often marginalizes them. But here's the problem. This reliance on external validation ultimately erodes true self-confidence. When women base their sense of self on the reactions of others, particularly those who are likely to objectify them, they lose the ability to truly know and love themselves for who they are. The cycle of seeking attention, gaining it, and then needing more of it to feel complete becomes exhausting and ultimately self-destructive. The irony lies in the fact that the more women play this game, the more disconnected they become from their true selves, and the more they risk being trapped in a never-ending cycle of validation-seeking behavior. Similarly, men too are trapped in a cycle, though theirs is slightly different. Men are conditioned to see women through a lens of objectification, and in doing so, they rob themselves of the chance to experience true emotional depth in their interactions. When men view women primarily as objects of desire, they fail to see them as complex human beings with their own needs, desires, and emotions. This makes it difficult for men to form genuine, meaningful relationships, as their interactions are often driven by a superficial desire to conquer or win approval, rather than to connect on a deeper, more intimate level. This, in turn, creates an imbalance in the relationships between men and women. Women are often seeking validation, while men are often seeking control, dominance, or conquest. Neither of these approaches leads to true connection. Instead, they perpetuate a cycle of manipulation and miscommunication that leaves both parties feeling unfulfilled and dissatisfied. Men and women alike may find themselves stuck in relationships that are based more on power dynamics than on mutual respect, and that's where the real tragedy lies. Instead of enjoying relationships that are fulfilling and nurturing, both sexes are left feeling empty, even when surrounded by attention, because that attention is not rooted in true connection. It's important to recognize that this dynamic is not just confined to individual interactions. It is a reflection of the broader societal norms and expectations that continue to shape how men and women relate to one another. Society often encourages men to assert dominance and power, while women are encouraged to seek validation through their appearance and their ability to provoke reactions. These norms are not only damaging to individuals, but they also undermine the foundation of healthy, respectful relationships. When both men and women are caught in this cycle, they are left with little room for authentic self-expression or genuine intimacy. So, what can be done to break free from this cycle? It starts with shifting the narrative around power, control, and validation. Both men and women must recognize that true power does not come from provoking reactions or seeking attention. It comes from knowing and accepting oneself, regardless of the external opinions or validations from others. Women must learn to value themselves beyond their appearance, and men must learn to appreciate women for their depth and complexity, not just their physical attributes. Both must move beyond the limiting expectations that society places on them and start building relationships based on mutual respect, emotional connection, and understanding. This process is not easy, and it requires a willingness to challenge deeply ingrained beliefs and behaviors, but the rewards are worth it. When individuals begin to free themselves from the need for external validation, they create space for real intimacy, where both parties can be seen, heard, and respected for who they truly are. In these types of relationships, power dynamics are no longer based on manipulation or control, but on mutual growth and support. The path to breaking the cycle is not about blaming one gender or the other. It's about recognizing that both men and women have been conditioned by society to behave in certain ways, and that those behaviors often lead to unhealthy patterns in relationships. By acknowledging these dynamics and working to change them, we can create a society where relationships are based on mutual respect, emotional depth, and equality. This is the true foundation of healthy, fulfilling connections, and it is the kind of relationship that both men and women deserve. In the end, it's not about playing a game of manipulation or power. It's about learning to trust, value, and respect one another as equals. Only when men and women stop playing the game and start building real connections based on love, respect, and understanding will we truly break free from the cycle of superficial validation and manipulation. It's a long road, but it's a road worth traveling, for the sake of creating a better, more meaningful future for everyone involved.